You're looking for grand gestures and dramatic declarations. Meanwhile, he's telling you he loves you every single day. The problem? He's speaking a language most women never learn to understand. Today, we're going to reveal exactly what it looks like when a man loves you deeply but quietly. These hidden signs are easy to miss but impossible to fake. And once you see them, you'll never doubt his feelings again. After watching this video, you'll recognize the silent signals he's been sending all along. This isn't just another relationship video. It's about finally seeing the truth that's been right in front of you all this time. When a man falls deeply in love, his priorities begin to shift in ways he might not even verbalize. You'll notice him checking with you before making plans that he previously would make independently. His phone, once a constant companion during conversations, gets placed face down or left in another room when you're together. Men generally demonstrate love through actions before words. The brain actually releases bonding chemicals that motivate him to reorganize his world, making space for you at the center of his life. Think about his behavior before you entered his life. You may notice softer boundaries around routines or personal time. When he includes you in decisions that were once entirely his own, he's rewiring his priorities on a deep level. Also revealing is how he handles unexpected changes to plans you've made together. You might see genuine disappointment when work interrupts your time, followed by immediate efforts to reschedule. Time with you has become precious to him. The truly revealing sign goes beyond just making time for you. It extends to how he protects that time. When others try to intrude on moments reserved for you, watch his response. A man who loves you creates boundaries around your relationship. He might silence notifications during important conversations or decline last-minute invitations when you already have simple plans together. Watch how he handles his phone when you're together. In today's world, attention represents our most valuable currency. When he focuses on you, rather than the endless distractions available, he shows exactly where his priorities lie. And what he does with his future plans? That reveals even more. Most women look for emotional declarations as proof of love. But the truth? A man's most authentic expressions of love often come wrapped in moments you might completely overlook. That habit of calling just to ask a simple question he could have Googled, the way he remembers trivial details about your day that even you've forgotten. These aren't just friendly gestures. They're his way of creating connection when he craves your presence. Men are typically socialized to hide vulnerability, making authentic emotional expression difficult. So instead of direct statements, love often emerges sideways, in moments when his guard is naturally lower. Early mornings, late nights, long drives. Pay special attention to what he reveals in these transitional spaces when consciousness is slightly altered and defenses are down. Listen carefully to how he talks about the future. Does he casually mention things you could do together months from now? Does he reference future events with an assumption that you'll still be in each other's lives? These aren't calculated moves. They're glimpses into how he's already mapped you into his future landscape. The strongest evidence appears during moments of personal achievement. When something good happens in his life, who does he tell first? When a man is deeply in love, your reaction to his news matters more than the news itself. He doesn't just want to share information, he wants to share the emotional experience with you specifically. Even more telling are the small problems and questions he brings to you. When he asks your opinion on something seemingly trivial, he's not being indecisive. He's creating opportunities for connection. He's saying, without words, that your perspective matters to him, that it shapes how he sees the world. Pay attention to how he behaves when he's stressed or facing challenges. Does he let you see him when he's not at his best? For many men, showing weakness feels like a risk. If he allows you to witness his struggles, his doubts, his disappointments, he's demonstrating a level of trust that goes far beyond casual affection. But the most powerful sign isn't what he does when you're together. It's what happens when you're apart. That slightly annoying habit where he checks the tire pressure before you drive somewhere. The way he sends that "Did you get home okay?" text that seems unnecessary. These behaviors reveal something profound about how men love. For a man deeply in love, your physical safety and well-being become extensions of his own sense of security. This protective instinct operates almost unconsciously, without calculation to impress you. These gestures often emerge most clearly during times of stress or when challenges arise. Many women feel wary of overprotectiveness. However, genuine protective behavior comes from a place of care rather than control. The brain actually creates associations between your well-being and his own emotional state. Watch how he reacts when you face difficulties, whether work challenges, family stress, or health concerns. You might notice increased attention to your basic needs or practical support offered without request. Men often express care through problem-solving and tangible assistance. The protective drive appears in many forms. He might research medication side effects, suggest safer travel routes, or develop habits like walking on the street side of the sidewalk. These behaviors stem from a brain that has categorized your well-being as essential. The true revelation isn't just that he wants to protect you, it's that your well-being has become essential to his own sense of peace. This merging of welfare is one of the deepest forms of love a man can demonstrate. Pay attention to how he responds when you're ill or injured. Even stoic men who rarely fuss over themselves often reveal profound tenderness when caring for someone they love deeply. The contrast between how they handle their own discomfort versus yours speaks volumes about their emotional priorities. Once you understand what's really happening when he does this, you'll never see these overprotective behaviors the same way again. Pay close attention to how he integrates you into his social circles. The man who loves you quietly doesn't just introduce you to friends and family, he creates space for you to develop your own relationships with the important people in his life. When he's with his friends, notice how often his eyes find you across the room. Does he unconsciously position himself where he can see you? Does he check your reactions to conversations or jokes? These subtle behaviors aren't conscious choices. They're automatic responses that reveal where his attention naturally gravitates. What happens when someone important to him meets you for the first time? Does he seem unusually invested in how the interaction goes? Watch for the slight tension in his body language, the way he might hover nearby or check in afterward about your impressions. These moments matter to him because, in his mind, he's connecting two separate parts of his emotional world. That habit you might find annoying, where he seems to bring you up in conversations with others. It's actually one of the strongest signals of love. When a man weaves you into his narrative, mentioning your opinions, referencing your shared experiences, bringing your perspective into discussions, he's integrating you into his identity. Listen to how he introduces you to new people, the details he chooses to share, the aspects of your personality or accomplishments he highlights. These aren't random. They reveal what he admires about you, what he values most deeply in your character. Even more telling is how he talks about you when you're not present. While you won't always witness this directly, you might hear about it from mutual friends or family members. Does he speak about you with pride? Does he defend you when others are critical? These moments when he has nothing to gain from performance are when his true feelings show most clearly. Notice how he handles disagreements in social settings. Does he automatically default to your side, even on trivial matters? Or if you have different perspectives, does he find ways to validate your view even while expressing his own? These subtle alignments reveal his subconscious prioritization of harmony with you over being right. And that's exactly why his silence often says more than his words ever could. Next comes the subtle morning habits that speak volumes about his feelings. When a man loves you deeply, his routines begin to accommodate your presence, whether you're physically there or not. The side of the bed he leaves empty even when you're away. The extra coffee cup he automatically takes down from the cabinet. The way he turns down the volume on his music when he knows you're sleeping. These aren't calculated gestures designed to win your approval. They're unconscious adaptations that reveal how thoroughly you've become part of his internal world. Look around his living space for evidence of how he's incorporated you into his environment. That specific brand of tea you like that he now keeps stocked. The extra blanket on the couch because he knows you get cold easily. The way he's rearranged furniture to create more comfortable spaces for conversation. These adjustments happen gradually, often without conscious intention. Even more revealing are the habits that persist when you're not physically present. Does he still make coffee for two out of pure muscle memory? Does he automatically reach for his phone to share something funny before remembering you're not available? These automatic behaviors show how deeply you've been integrated into his neural pathways. Pay attention to how he navigates shared spaces. Has he learned to move more quietly in the morning when you're still sleeping? Does he instinctively know which side of the bed you prefer in hotels? Has he memorized the specific way you like certain things arranged? This kind of detailed awareness doesn't come from obligation. It comes from sustained, loving attention. When a man's private behaviors, the things he does when no one is watching, begin to reflect your preferences and needs, something profound has shifted in his emotional landscape. He's no longer thinking in terms of I, but in terms of we. Notice how he handles objects that belong to you. Does he treat your possessions with special care? Does he remember where things go or how they should be handled? This respect for what's yours isn't about materialistic value. It's about the extension of care from you to the things that matter to you. This is why the most authentic signs of love are often found in the most mundane moments. How a man allocates his attention reveals his true priorities more honestly than his words ever could. Look for what researchers call bids for connection, those small moments when he turns toward you rather than away. Maybe he shows you something interesting on his phone instead of just scrolling silently. Perhaps he points out something he knows would interest you during a walk together. These tiny moments of shared focus build emotional intimacy over time. Even more significant is the quality of his listening when you speak. Does he ask follow-up questions that show he's truly processing what you've said? Does he remember details from conversations you had days or weeks ago? This kind of attentive listening isn't about politeness. It's about genuine interest in your internal world. Watch what happens when you're in the middle of telling him something and a distraction arises. Does he ask you to continue your thought after the interruption passes? Does he seem genuinely disappointed when a meaningful conversation gets cut short? These reactions reveal how much he values connection with you specifically. The depth of his attention appears most clearly during difficult conversations. When you're sharing something painful or complicated, does he maintain eye contact? Does his body language show he's fully present? The man who loves you deeply doesn't just hear your words, he creates space to receive your emotions as well. Even his silence can be revealing. Is he comfortable in quiet moments with you, or does he always need to fill the space? The ability to share comfortable silence suggests a level of emotional intimacy where constant performance feels unnecessary. And then there's the phenomenon of shared attention. Those moments when you both notice the same thing simultaneously and exchange a look that needs no words. These instances of nonverbal communication develop over time as your minds become increasingly attuned to each other's patterns. This quality of attention extends to how he notices changes in you. Does he recognize when you're not yourself? Can he tell when something's bothering you before you mention it? This kind of attunement doesn't happen with casual affection. It requires sustained, loving observation over time. One of the most powerful indicators of deep love is how a man includes you in his personal growth journey. When he's truly in love, he doesn't just want you to witness his evolution. He wants you to be part of shaping it. Notice how he responds to your feedback. Does he take your perspective seriously, even when it challenges his own view? Is he willing to reconsider long-held positions based on conversations with you? This openness to being influenced by you specifically reveals a profound level of respect and trust. Even more telling is how he handles your growth and evolution. Does he support your goals even when they're inconvenient for him? Does he celebrate your achievements without making them about himself? The man who loves you deeply doesn't feel threatened by your development. He sees your flourishing as part of a shared journey. Pay attention to whether he shares his own learning and insights with you. Does he forward articles that made him think of you? Does he want to discuss ideas or realizations that have changed his perspective? This desire to grow together rather than separately demonstrates a vision of life as a collaborative adventure. Perhaps the clearest evidence appears in how he handles differences between you. Does he approach your contrasting views or preferences with curiosity rather than judgment? Does he seek to understand rather than simply tolerate? This willingness to explore differences respectfully reveals a love that embraces the full complexity of who you are. Watch how he refers to the future. Does he naturally include you in his vision of what's ahead? Does he consider how major decisions might impact both of you? These aren't just practical considerations. They're evidence that he's building a mental landscape where your paths remain intertwined. Even his mistakes can reveal the depth of his feelings. When he gets something wrong or disappoints you, how does he respond? Does he get defensive, or does he demonstrate a genuine desire to understand your perspective? The capacity to repair ruptures in connection, rather than abandon ship when things get difficult, shows a commitment to growth over comfort. Now that you recognize these hidden signs, how should you respond? The answer isn't about testing his love or demanding more visible proof. Instead, acknowledge these quiet demonstrations with the same significance they deserve. A simple "I noticed that" can validate his expressions of love in ways that encourage more openness. When you recognize his protective gesture or the way he adjusted his schedule for you, naming it gently helps him feel seen. Understand that for many men, these behaviors are their love language. Expecting them to match romantic movie declarations misses the profound depth of what they're already communicating. Some men genuinely believe they're being completely transparent with their feelings through these actions and feel confused when their partners still question their commitment. Create space for this form of love to flourish. When you recognize and value these quiet signs, you're speaking his emotional language, and that builds the trust necessary for more direct expression. The more you acknowledge his nonverbal communications of love, the safer he'll feel expressing himself in all ways. Resist the urge to compare his expressions of love to external standards or romantic ideals. The man who shows love through consistent presence and practical support may never be the one who makes grand public declarations, and that's not a reflection of the depth of his feelings. Consider how your own expectations and past experiences might be filtering how you perceive his expressions of love. Sometimes we're so busy looking for love in specific forms that we miss the abundant evidence right in front of us. The quiet love of a good man can be easy to overlook in a culture that celebrates drama and intensity. The most beautiful relationships often develop when both partners learn to read between the lines of each other's love. By understanding what he does when he loves you quietly, you'll discover a depth of connection that flashy declarations can never match. Remember that love expressed through consistent action tends to outlast love that relies primarily on words. The man who demonstrates his feelings day after day in small, meaningful ways is showing you something profound about his character and his capacity for enduring commitment. And in that understanding, both of you will find the freedom to express love in ways that feel authentic, creating a relationship built on genuine emotional intimacy rather than performed affection.